Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Yahoo here with KissAnalog.com. Alright, so today what I have is two Fluke meters I wanted to kind of compare, kind of show you the difference between the two. The Fluke 117, okay, this guy sells on, it's on sale on Amazon for about $170 US. It's normally like 220 bucks, okay? And then we have the Fluke 18B Plus that sells for about $139 on eBay. That's where I got this one. Yeah, it's in a case. Pretty cool, huh? A Fluke come in a case? Well, it doesn't say Fluke on it. This one's made in China. This one's made in Malaysia. Okay, they're not made in US. This one, they don't have lifetime warranties either. This guy has a 3-year warranty, and I have no warranty with this one because it's not supposed to be sold in the US. From what I understand, it's supposed to be sold just in Asian markets. That's probably why it came to me in a nondescript. It wasn't a Fluke packaging like this, and it came in this. So it's probably why. Okay, I have this meter set now. This Testo. So this Testo, I did a review with this 117, the Testo. I'll leave that below because that was a little bit more detailed in measurements and stuff than what I'm going to go through in this review. I'm going to show you the differences between these two meters, talk about them, and show you a few measurements, and I'm going to open them both up so you can see the insides of both. Honestly, after I did the review with these two, man, I just had a bad taste in my mouth with the 117. I used it for the review, otherwise I wanted to send it back. Because, yeah, so there you go. Not a big fan. I really hope to be a big fan of that meter because it was under 200 bucks. I wanted to be a fan of that meter, and when people asked me for a Fluke, what I recommend, I was going to say, I'd buy that one. I did a rant on Flukes and about, are they priced too high, and I certainly think they are. And I got some, some kind of pushback on that from some viewers. People were, it's almost like they thought that if I said, don't buy this meter, go buy a cheap, what some people call the cheap Chinese meters, $20, $30 meter, but I wasn't saying that. I was saying buy a Testo. That's less money than the Fluke, and you get nice silicon leads. These are really nice leads. Or buy an amp probe. The company that owns Fluke owns amp probe, so you're still buying from the same company essentially, but you're getting a way better meter. Fleur, lower cost meter. So there's lots of really high quality meters that have agency testing that are lower cost, and they come with silicon leads. Here, I just want to show you something. The leads in this are the same as that one. Now, I also did a review on meter test leads. I'm going to put that below. The one thing I want to talk about here is I open this. First thing I would do, I want to grab these leads, okay? I just want to show you the leads. I've taken these out, stretched them out before, put them back in the case. I was tempted to send this back as well, but I got it from eBay. I don't even know if I can return it, so I decided, what the heck, I'll do this review. But I got these leads and the meter itself, and I mean, look at this. You can see how stiff these things are. I mean, this new plastic that they're using to make these leads, these are the what do they call them? The TL75s? Okay, so the older TL75s were PVC, and the PVC guys, they don't do that, right? Look at that. Look how it regains its shape when I let go. I mean, that is here. Oh, okay, now, and by the way, this is what a Fluke bag used to look like. Now the new bags, the black and yellow ones, look a little nicer, a little flashier, but and I've got one of those, and they're similar inside. They have this kind of soft material inside, a pocket inside, and those pockets are nice because and the bags were always large size, so I could put some screwdrivers, some wire cutters, and I carry them around. I carry a bag like that in my car, so if I'm friend's house, family's house, member's house, I can. Okay, well anyway, here, let me pull these out again. Look, those are, okay, and they've been in that bag for a long time. But you can just see how much softer they are than these. These guys are never going to be this soft. Well, I don't know, maybe 50 years from now they'll change. Who knows what that plastic does. But now even these leads, like if you wrap them up like I did in that bag, they'll kind of keep their shape right there. These leads do not have good strain relief. These TL75s, they're kind of, these leads were crap. Those are, yeah, do I want to cuss? They're terrible. On this end, there's like zero strain, well, almost zero strain relief, not enough to protect the leads. On this side, very little. And these caps that they put on are, this is supposed to be so they can work in Cat 3. These things are, they don't stay on very tight at all. They're very loose. This is like, this is a safety feature. This is not a safety thing. That's poor design. So I wanted to send the meter back just because I wanted to send a message like, I'm not going to accept this junk. But I bought it in the first place because somebody wanted me to do a review on it, on these 18 plus meters. Yeah, see the plastic bag it came in? Yeah, I mean, and the white generic looking manual. It's not the Fluke colors. Oh, and look at this card inside here. It's all in Chinese. It says Fluke in a few places. It does have 2029, September 14. I think it's a quality stamp is what I think it is. But the manual's just fine. It's like, you know, it's in English, whatever. But anyway, there's no pockets in here to separate the leads from the meter. This is about the cheapest bag I've seen. At least it came with the bag. I mean, that's definitely a plus. But with my inexpensive meters, I get better bags than that. I shouldn't complain, right? Came with the bag. All right, so the other thing with this is there's a little wrinkle on the little sticker that goes across here. That's not a big deal. That's nothing. But it is kind of a sign of a quality thing, you know, because a lot of times people leave. I've bought used meters, and this little sticker thing is left on the display. And as a matter of fact, I've left a couple of mine on, like the one on this Tesla is still on. Yeah, it's just kind of weird that there'd be a wrinkle. I could probably pull it off, stretch it out if I cared to. But yeah, the meter's a little bit bigger than I expected. I got fairly big hands, and it's kind of a bigger meter than I thought, because these number series, I thought they were smaller meters. Like, I had this 16, right? And this is an 18B plus. This 16, look how small it is. And the leads are on the bottom. I guess they didn't think that was a good idea, so they stopped doing that. It's not a great idea for a bench meter. Just for something you're going to use around your car, I think it's fine. Okay, so then when I turn on the display, they always come with batteries these days, it seems like. I find that interesting as well. But I was bummed when I went to AC voltage. I thought I was going to see hertz up here, because this does have the hertz function. But when I hit hertz, it changes this to frequency. And then when I go to percentage, it changes to duty cycle. So that's kind of a bummer. I thought that this large display that claimed 150% bigger than the previous display, I thought they would utilize that display for a dual line display. But man, I'll tell you what, I am starting to get really bummed about Fluke's innovations, or lack of innovation. It's not even innovation at this point. It's just applying what other people, you know, like the Havo test meter back there, dual display. Now the Testo is an awesome display. It has all kinds of lines on it. I'm not even saying it has to go that far. Just put a dual display on it. Okay. I'm ranting, right? Sorry. Okay, let me tell you something that's different between the two meters. This 6,000 count, this is a 4,000 count. They're both true RMS meters. This guy is not agency tested. It's the first Fluke I think I've ever owned that's not agency tested. So this guy here, no agency testing. It's made in China. I have no problem with that. I have lots of meters made in China, and I think they're awesome. But it's just the specs that you send the manufacturer in China is what you get. And There's no testing, so you would think you'd get a lower cost meter. Well, to Fluke, maybe they think $140 is low cost, but I think that's still an expensive meter. So I don't know what they cost in Asia, but for us to buy them from, in the US off eBay, it cost me $139. All right, so let me just talk about what you get with this meter you don't get with that. With this meter, you get an LED test. Very interesting. So a lot of reviewers, they use the diode test function to test all these LEDs, right? Where that's really meant for a diode test, because if you're troubleshooting electronics, you're looking, a lot of times it's the transistors, the semiconductor parts that burn up, diodes and transistors, right? So when you're doing that, when you're testing a transistor, like say a bipolar transistor, there's two junctions in that, and so you can use a diode test to test a transistor. You can test the diodes with it, so you can see whether your diodes are still operational or not. And a FET has a body diode, so you can test that body diode, see if it's still there or if the FET's shorted. So the diode function is very useful, but a lot of reviewers, a lot of people just spend a lot of time turning on all kinds of different colors of LEDs, and I always kind of thought that was interesting, and I kind of followed suit, and I kind of showed, because I thought, well, people are interested in seeing what kind of diodes or LEDs you can light up. Now, both of these meters, when they're loaded, I think that they're spec'd for only 2 volts for diode testing, which is kind of on the low side. Most meters will go 2.8 volts or higher. So right around 3 volts is kind of normal. So for 2 volts, they are both on the low side. But this one though, with the LED test, this guy, I think he can go up to 5 volts now when it's loaded. And unloaded, I think it goes up even higher. But anyway, loaded down with an LED, it'll go up to 5 volts. And it has the little thing right here. You can plug it right into the face of the meter, or you can use the leads to test it. So there you go. If you're really interested in testing LEDs, that's a pretty cool function. But all right, so the other thing this guy has milliamps and microamps. This guy only has a 10 amp scale. So this guy comes with some of those cool features. It has the hertz, that one does, but this one also has duty cycle. So that one does not have duty cycle. Now, they both have manual ranging, so they'll auto range, or you can go to manual ranging, so that's nice. Okay, so that's some of the things that this guy does do that one doesn't do. And I think the current ranges are maybe some of the larger factors. Now this guy has a low Z setting, an auto V / low Z set. If you're testing, like say a cable that has some voltage on it, and you're like, well, it shouldn't have any voltage on it, but it's running in a bundle with some other cables. Those other cables could be energizing that cable, and now it's very low energy, but your meter sees, it's high impedance, right? So it sees some voltage there, and you're like, might fool you a little bit. But you put that on low Z, doesn't take very much impedance to drain that low energy off the cable, and you go, oh, it's 0 volts. Okay, good. So that's what that functions for. And then it also has a volt alert. Okay, I'm gonna take this meter out of this box. Now, yeah, it comes with the same set of crappy leads. I mean, those leads are horrible. Unbelievable. Now this also comes packaged with this little strap. Says, hey, go buy our $40 strap. I showed another video where you can get them for 10 bucks, And anyway, I'll put the links down below for the Testo review and the strap, and also for the meter leads. I did one of those too, show you that you don't have to buy their $35 leads. You can buy somebody else's. But so now Fluke, they own this, the company that owns Fluke, I should say, they also own a probe company. And so I just wonder why we can't get better probes for meters that are around over $100, right? And they own an amp probe too. An amp probe comes with nice leads, but why you get junk leads with these, I don't know. Anyway, this guy here only has the 3 inputs. Like I say, only the 10 amp. This guy has the 400 milliamp range too, because it also does microamps in that range, or in that input right there. But So this guy here, the volt alert, that is what a lot of people call non-contact voltage. Okay, so last time I did this, when I did the Tesla review, I kind of screwed up because there's like a laser etching or something that says low high down here. I don't know why they didn't use the yellow or the white like they did around here, because it's not really easy to see, and I can see it now. That when you see it now, it's obvious. You go, oh yeah. But anyway, I guess I just didn't notice it. But before, you can hear it beeping, just me holding. It's pretty darn sensitive, and that's what the high means. I thought it meant it's reading high voltage because it's just going off like crazy. It's not quite as sensitive, but what it means is it's high sensitivity. It's not bad right now. It's actually, you know, but I've turned this on and off a few times and tried it, and sometimes it's just crazy sensitive, and sometimes it's not. I mean, it's like, what are those wands that people go around try to find water? It's almost like one of those. Like, you walk around your backyard and probably find where the cables are buried in the ground. I don't know. Maybe it's probably sense enough to tell a jet going over. I'm making fun here, but man, it's annoying. But it's, yeah, I mean, just, it feels like the way I touch it. Like when I was picking it up last time, I mean, look at that, just the energy off my body. I don't know if I'm that high energetic, but wow. But when you, look at that. I mean, it's unusable, I think. So if you go low setting, I guess I don't have high enough energy to set it off. So now, if you go by your power buttons, or by power, well, yeah, I hope you can hear that from there. But anyway, it does work, you know, and that is usable, I think. So you kind of see the light going off there. So yeah, in that setting it seems usable, but in the high setting, man, it goes off way too easy. So maybe that's for detecting electricity in your backyard. But anyway, in that regards, as far as functionality goes, I think this is a more usable meter with the microamps and milliamps, and probably that LED. Now the 17B series, 17B plus, I mean, that one has the high-low setting instead of the LED test. So there's a trade-off. I guess they put the button right there, and so it takes away this LED thing. I would have been happy if they would have taken this away and let you use your leads only and not have the option of using that and put in the min-max, but obviously that's not the way Fluke does things. So anyway, I see the high voltage symbol right there, which, okay, yeah, got me. Anyway, okay, I'm going to bring the camera over and show you guys a close-up of these things, show you what they look like up close, and we'll take off the hood and look underneath, see what it looks like, so you can kind of see how they're made. I'm curious to see what this one looks like inside, since it doesn't come with agency testing and it's made in China. You know what, I'm going to pull up my board. Another thing I was going to say, this is a 9-volt battery, in case you care. Some people don't like it, I don't know. This guy uses 2 AA's. Okay, we're going to open up the battery compartments, check that out, compare the two. As far as stands go, these stands are similar. These little plastic stands are probably, I probably like these stands better than the stands that are on the more expensive meters. Like this stand right here, like just a little bit of force, it just pops off. So that one's, I think their stands have become junk. They used to have good stands, and I don't know why they got rid of the, now this is one of the older meters, and this one has a better stand. I don't know why they got rid of, you know, the kind of rubber one that had the wire in it that was bendable. You could bend over, yeah. And as far as agency testing and all that stuff goes, I was talking about that before. As far as that goes, some of these meters, like this one, has the CSA and the CE. That's what this guy has, the 117. Kind of a limited number of agencies compared to, say, the 189 or the T89. This stand is broken. It's pure junk. But anyway, it came with the UL, CE, CSA, and the TUV. So this guy, I think it has the, I was looking for the Australian thing. I thought it had that on there too, but man, unbelievable. By the way, that Fluke 189 is probably my favorite Fluke, but the stand was junk. Yeah, this one came with the Canadian thing, and it came with all the ones I just listed off of that one, but it also has the Australian Safety Agency. But the 77 and this 117, they just come with the CSA, and this guy is just CE. Okay, so let's bring the camera over, take a close up, but first, let me show you this board. Alright, so I just thought I'd show you this just as a kind of a bullet point so you could just kind of see it all for yourself. 6,000 count compared to 4,000 count, 140 versus 170. You know, the 4,000 count, it's too bad this guy's not 6,000 count. I think any meter over 50 bucks, over $60 should be a 6,000 count. So anyway, that's too bad, especially with that big display. I don't know, but IP rating, that's the ingress protection. The first number talks about solid objects, or and the second one's moisture, water. So 4 is nothing can go in there the size of a certain gauge of wire, like something like that. Seems pretty obvious, but anyway, yeah, it's not a big deal to get a 4 rating. A lot of the other meters, the competitors, have a lot better IP ratings. 2 means that if you're walking outside and there's a slight rain and you're holding the meter like at a 15-degree angle, I believe it is, if you're holding it like that so water can actually hit the face and run down, then it's protected for that. So you just might be outside looking at your meter and it starts raining, and you go inside, get away from the rain, but you don't want your meter to have any lasting effects of getting wet, right? But this one has the same dry rating but 0, so it's good for the bench, right? And because this one was supposed to be the electrician's meter, they thought it should have a 2 at least. But yeah, like I say, the Testo, for instance, has a lot better ratings. And okay, so 9-volt double A's over here, has the low Z. This guy has the LED test, the volt alert. This guy has milliamps and microamps, which I think I put asterisks because I think that's more important. This guy's agency tested, CSA. This guy has a CE mark. Made in Malaysia, and this is made in China. Now these feet, this is something that I'll have true RMS, 2 volts for the diode testing, and they both have a backlight. So, okay, and the price at Amazon on sale and eBay, that's the prices today that I saw. Okay guys, I put some little things here to kind of tilt them so that my lights don't reflect on the screen, and you can see how there's a slight difference in colors of the screen. I don't know whether that doesn't mean anything to me, but just pointing it out. Okay, I'm going to put this in Auto Z because this one doesn't have that. See the low Z up here? I just want to show you each setting, and you do have a, okay, and this one the manual range doesn't work, I guess, but I think, nope, none, I guess those, okay, the hold does. See the hold light? Okay, so those don't work in this. Yeah, these buttons don't work in this setting, but the hold does. Okay, so now let's go to the AC voltage setting. Okay, AC volts, auto, and they both have the manual range. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it. Just so you can hear the difference. That's got more of a chirping, this got more of a tone. Some people, that kind of stuff matters to. I don't seem to be too concerned with that. Okay, there you go. There's DC volts. That's what they look like. Millivolts. So far you notice they kind of both follow the same trend. Then the ohms. Okay, and that's where this one also has the continuity and the diode. We'll go back and you can hear the continuity later, okay? Let's just go through each display. Capacitor. The capacitor's down here on this one. Okay, there's the continuity. We saw the continuity on the other one. There's the diode. And then capacitor. That's kind of interesting, right? Now, one thing I want to point out. This guy, you can see the decimal points. This guy does have better accuracy in the nanofarad range. You can see that it has 2 zeros here. So this one is, if you care about the lower capacitance ranges, you can look at the specs, but this one you can tell right now has 2 places after the decimal point. So yeah, the high range, I think they're the same. Okay, there's amps. Alright, same thing, right? Okay, then we go to, this guy has a milliamp range and the microamp range, and this guy has, okay, it goes 10 amp to 6 amp. Okay, so it does have that. Let's go back up here. I didn't realize that. I thought it only had the, okay, this one probably is doing the same thing. And then it has a milliamp. Okay, and then it has microamps. Alright, and then I guess that's just DC current. Up here, that's DC current. I guess the AC current looks like that. So I guess that would be the same display right there. And then this guy also has a volt alert that we've already talked about. You can see how sensitive it is. Oh, that just kills me. I mean, there's been times when as soon as I pick it up, it goes off. It senses my fingers on the, I don't know. Anyway, I harped on that enough, right? Looking down the barrels of these guys, to me, they look like they look the same to me. I don't see any difference, okay? Other than the fact this guy has the milliamp microamp range, 400 milliamp fuse. So this guy has 2 fuses in it. We'll see that when we open them up. One other difference I want to point out, just in case it matters to anybody, when you're holding this, you can do a single hand operation. As you're holding it, you can reach around and grab that dial right there by the edge and move it. Some people, I think that's why they put that option there, because some people care about that. Personally, I've always found that any meter, I can do this easier than trying to reach around and push that thumb wheel. To me, my thumb works better. So anyway, any meter I've ever used, I've been able to pick it up and move it around my thumb. Okay, and you can grab the bottom end, the top end, push them. Now, one thing I just noticed I want to point out is that you notice the little white dot there? Like, I don't know why they didn't put a dot. It looks like they placed a piece of plastic down there, but why didn't they color that? Some people really like colored pointers. I just want to point that out for the people that care about that stuff, but it is something to note, right? And you can see the high-low etch, like, looks like a laser etch in the display up here where I was talking about before. Why didn't they use that yellow color? Because people would confuse it with this. Well, then why didn't they just put it with white? Yeah, I mean, it is different ranges, high and low. Why didn't they just make it the same color as the white on this? Because that little laser etch, whatever they have, does not stand out very much, I don't think. And the hertz range, like when you're in volts, you can go to hertz. And you don't expect a dual display with this little small display. This is Fluke's typical small display. pretty much everybody else in the industry uses larger displays except for Fluke. I think they just know they can get away with it because people say just buy Fluke. This guy, big display, they used a big display to make it look like a meter that has a better display, but it's just bigger. This is big enough. These are gigantic. So if we could, let's say if we're over here and we want to go to Hertz, it just switches to Hertz and it automatically shows a high voltage thing. Why? Why is that showing me a high voltage? I don't have any voltage connected. I don't understand that. Maybe there's a reason. Somebody can tell me. And then if I push again, I get duty cycle. Still, I got the high voltage warning. Okay, you got me. Let's go to continuity. Let's just do the continuity thing. I don't want to use their crappy leads. Just because they're not flexible, not because they don't conduct well. I've shown where you can clean pretty much any lead with alcohol and they work tons better. Oh, that was interesting. When I first touched it, went ba 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 ba. Okay. By the way, this meter does have an interesting continuity check. You know, people that do this fire stick thing that drives me nuts. This one, if you are testing something, like let's say you got your meter leads clipped onto a cable and you're bending the cable around to see if there's a broken connection. Maybe you're testing a Fluke cable to see if the stupid thing's broken there. And then it goes short, open, short, open. This guy here has I think it's half a millisecond or something like that reaction time. So if you are doing something like that, but no one does continuity like this, guys. That is stupid. People got to stop doing that. Continuity test is a purposeful touch. Anyway, all right. So I just wanted you to hear that. Listen. Okay. Then let's go over here. These are the Testo leads. They're awesome. Okay, sorry. I got to switch over to... Okay, higher pitch. Probably the same volume level, but just because of higher pitch, it sounds louder. Okay, so, you know, when you're doing continuity testing, you're underneath the dashboard, you're inside a box, you're on the other side of a circuit board, you're testing something. You don't want to look up at the lead, at the meter to see what the ohms thing is, because if you're doing that, you can just read ohms, right? You can just look for 0 ohms. But when you're doing continuity, you just want to hear, oh yeah, that's a connection. Oh yeah, that's a connection, and then move on. No one does this. This is stupid. All right, let's open them up and look inside. I'm curious what this guy looks like. Now, most of the meters that I've opened, like inexpensive meters, you know, I think, to me, without doing any serious testing, and I have used my high pot meter at 1,000 volts, and I've never found a problem. So, okay, so let's take a look at the back. Right away you can see this one's nice because there are ways to power this guy up, and it shows you the different options. Let me just show you. Let's say, I think this one stays on for 50 seconds when you hit the backlight, and this one stays on for 2 minutes. And you know what? That reminds me, I wanted to show you what the backlights look like. So let me turn away my light a little bit, and then let's turn on the backlight. And that's what the backlight looks like. I'll shield them a little bit more. You can see this guy's brighter than this one. Neither one of them are super bright. See, that's such a nicer display. for that matter, look how bright that is, the Amazon commercial. So I just want to show you something in comparison to these, because comparing the two together, this one's brighter, but compared to most of my other meters, neither one of them are super bright. You see how that one's off already? This one stays on. So that brings up the power on mode. You hold this down, turn it on. See how it says low off? So now when I turn this on, it'll stay on as long as I want it. Okay, now if I hold this guy down, the yellow one, and turn it on, power off. So now it won't auto power off. This guy, same thing. If I hold this down, turn it on, power off. But see how, whoops, let me try that again. Okay, see when I turn that on, power off and low off. So it now if I turn on the display, it'll stay, this backlight will stay on forever, or the display itself will just stay on. Where this one, you do either one independently. This one controls, this guy controls both of these things. So there are a few more options here. Now this one also allows you to turn off the beeper. Okay, so there is that option as well. But the point is it's nice that it tells you here. On this one they didn't do that. It's too bad. And then down here there's some information. So I like that when they use the back of the meter, so you don't have to go find your manual or try to remember how to do it. But now these doors, you can see from here, I can see a screw. There's nothing here. They both take the same kind of hangers. They both have the same kind of rubberized. Well, these are a little bit softer. These are super stiff. This is soft down here. Normally they're softer on the bottom. Now you see the stands about almost the same angle. They almost look about the same. Let me get the lights back over here. Alright, so that's what they look like inside. If you can see, there's Chinese writing here. Down inside here it's all Chinese. I assume it's Chinese. It's an Asian writing. 2 AA batteries, I can see that part. And this one has similar information, tells you what kind of battery. Okay, so this one, screw right there takes off the battery, and look at this guy. It just takes one of those little clocks. Alright, so let's just take off the battery compartment. Okay, so, whoop, wow, look at that. I turned it, I thought it was going to have, it just, spring popped right, oh, wow. It just popped right out. Kind of a foam cushion here. But look how the walls of the battery compartment. So it seals off the batteries. That's really nice. And I like this. Like, I don't know why you need a metal screw. I like that. As long as you don't use a screwdriver that's too small that you booger it up. But yeah, that worked out nice. And then it came with, well, it looks like a Duracell battery, but oh, it is a Duracell. OEM. That's original equipment manufacturer. Not for resale. Made in China. So, okay, there's the batteries. It says calibration seal. So I guess there's a screw down there or something I might have to take off to get this open. But see the compartment here? I don't see the circuit board anywhere. So it's totally sealed from the circuit, so that's great. Okay, let's take this guy off. Okay, that's a metal insert there. And same kind of thing, the big walls, the battery's sitting down inside here. And you can only, it looks like you can only put the battery in one way. The large hole, small hole. Little foam here to hold the battery in. Also has a plus and minus in case you want to look at that. But yeah, same kind of compartment. There's this stuff that has there, the agency. That's the Australian one, I believe. That's the CSA and the CE. And just to show you this one, the only thing I see is CE. It's all pretty much stuff I can't read except for here. Fluke Corporation patents. It's kind of you know, whatever. But okay, so this compartment on the 117, you can see the circuit board down in there, so it's not quite as sealed as, you know, this lower cost meter, but otherwise kind of a similar approach to the design, right? Okay, now I got to take this thing off, and it's kind of a similar design on both of them, kind of just a shrunk over. So yeah, that's what that's like. It's you know, thicker plastic up here, so it's a little more rigid up there. Okay, okay, let's take this guy off. Oh, this one's a little bit harder to get off. Wow. And it feels like the same kind of material. Now, there you go. That's kind of funny. You know, it's kind of like the display, how I was talking about, how it's kind of got that wrinkle in the little plastic screen protector. Also, that's kind of cockeyed. Instead of almost perfectly centered. I would think a machine puts that on, but again, Chinese writing. Then I can see 11 amp, 1000 volt, 440 amps here. And nothing on that one. Okay, let's take the screws off. Alright, so just 2 screws there. And seems like there's more, but okay, let's take these guys off. That thing is still, I forget how I've taken that off once before when I compared it to the Testo, but I'll have to remember how I pulled it apart. I was curious. I thought they might be the same screw, but they are different. You can see it's a little bit larger gauge and it's a little bit longer. Now the threads on these screws are a little bit tighter. Yeah, the threads on those are a little bit tighter pitch. Okay, it feels like it's going to come apart now. So that little calibration thing must have a connector that comes down and touches those pads so they can electrically connect and do the calibration, the reading of the board. But yeah, there's a chip, buzzer. You know, I'm not sure what that is. To me, it almost looks like a little power supply converter chip. You know what? That might be for the LED powering. I'll bet you that's what that is for. Probably a little DC-DC module to ump the voltage for the LED testing. That's my guess. And then look at this plastic that comes up to the board to isolate this circuitry from the voltage over here. Then we got a poly cap. Looks like MOVs, 3 MOVs, and a PTC, and a large through-hole resistor they're using instead of a bunch of surface mount resistors to give the high voltage impedance there. So that's good. And then they got plastic coming up to the case right there through the slot in the board to isolate this from, I don't know what, from the edge of the card. Huh, that's interesting. That's a bridge rectifier down here with probably a TVS diode, I'm guessing. And then down here, that almost looks like a ferrite bead, like for filtering. But this is obviously your 2 fuses. The 11 amp fuse, it looks like here, for the high current. So they have 2 high rupture capacity fuses in the board. That's nice. Here's your, well, that's kind of somewhat of a small loop, just fine, I'm sure. Another through-hole Dell resistor, 1 ohm resistor. And then they screwed these little pins onto the turrets here and soldered them to the board, which is just fine too. Yeah, it looks like just fine construction to me. It doesn't look like 140 bucks. Yeah, I just think it's a little bit of a gouge going on here. Anyway, I like the construction, obviously. The tongue and groove, the tongue here, the groove down here. I mean, it's all, you know, pretty much like every meter I look at, you know, whether it's a $30, $40 meter, $25 meter or what, they all seem to be made pretty well. Now this one does have 3 nice MOVs, the blue ones. I don't know if those are, what brand they are. They're Vichy maybe. And then the PTCs, they're small in diameter, but they're husky looking. I'm sure that's just fine for class 3 or for category 3. I'm not going to bother to take the board out because there's a bunch of screws and, you know, we're not going to see much more. Here, I'm going to leave that open. Let's open up the other one. Oh, there it goes. Man, just had to pull it apart. Okay, and that's that big old antenna for the non-contact voltage thing, or the volt alert they call it. And you can see the plastic spacers that come up to the board. Same, well, maybe 1 watt bigger. It's a bigger resistor than this one. Same value of resistance. There's a PTC, same one as that one probably. Same 3 MOVs. This one has an extra PTC and 1 fuse. So, oh look, the same loop as that's used over here. That's very interesting. Made in different countries, but the same part. These parts are probably all made in China and just sent to Malaysia for assembly. And you can see the way they connected these is different than this one. I don't know if anyone's better. So there you go. Same kind of tongue and groove in the housings. You see the sides here? Same kind of construction. Now this one does have the wall on the inside is a little bit higher than the wall on the outside. I don't think that means anything or matters. I think the tongue and groove, you see the features along the plastic that make it to stiffen this ridge up. And see this, these are all features to make the plastic stiff. These little features around here. And this guy is a smaller housing, so that makes it stronger. And also I think the shape of it just happens to make it stronger too, is my guess. But you see how the battery compartment comes down, sits down in this space. That little thing right there kind of centers over this guy. But it separates all the, you know, it's a dielectric basically. And this guy's same thing. You see how these 2 screws went down there, kind of hold everything in place. And this guy's, but you see the wall here? Like this one has this guy to hold the fuse in. This one has the same kind of feature down here, and then features here to hold the fuses in. So I'm assuming that this wall right here keeps the fuse from sliding forward, these walls. I think that's what holds the fuse from sliding, because it's not the kind of fuse holder that has the little, you know, pieces of metal that keep the fuse from sliding. So I think that's what these 2 pieces of plastic do. And then this one right here, it actually does have the features that keep the fuse from sliding back and forth. You see that? But also it looks like it can't slide outside this plastic. So that's kind of a, I wonder why they didn't use those same clips over here. And then on this one, they used the same clips as they did on this guy. The ones that don't have the things that keep from sliding, but that plastic keeps from going too far that way. And when this guy is in the tongue and groove, this guy keeps it from going that way. Both good constructions. I mean, very nice constructions. You can see the size of the beeper difference. I don't know if that means anything, but there you go. Made in Malaysia, made in China. Really, the difference, I don't think it matters where you have it made. I think it matters what your design is. All right, so what'd you think of that? Do you like either one of them? Are you impressed? Did you want to get one? I hope this video helped if you're interested in one of these meters. So hey, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, if you found it interesting at all. you know, I want to show good meters that you can use for your bench. And I thought for electrician, I ended up going down the road getting this meter, thinking that'd be a good meter, and the testo. And then once I had that, I thought, you know, people were asking me to review the, you know, the 18 or 17, and so I thought, yeah, I like that meter. I have no problem with it being made in China. I just think that because it's made in China, I just don't see, like the Havo test, for instance. I'd rather have that Havo test than this meter, and it was a whole lot less money. So, yeah, if you liked the video, if you found it useful at all, I appreciate thumbs up, because whenever I do a Fluke video and I bash them at all, I get lots of thumbs downs, because people really love Fluke and they don't like anything negative. And they don't mind. I get people saying, I love Fluke, I just take the leads, throw them away, and buy new leads. But it's like, really? I don't know. Anyway, so I can't really recommend either one of these meters. I would send them both back and get my money back if I could, but I probably don't want to do that since I've taken them apart and all that kind of stuff, used them for reviews. So yeah, I'm not happy with it. I'll probably end up giving them away. So I would recommend getting this Ampro, the 570. Same company owns this as those, and these guys have been around as long as Fluke, and this has better stand on it. It's agency tested, better leads, comes with the bag. Yeah, it comes with this bag, and this isn't a cheap bag like that one. Has the divider here where you can put your leads on one side, your meter on this. It has temperature probes, because it has 2 temperature probes on there. Has a pocket CD in here. I mean, just a lot nicer bag. Handle on the outside. I think there's there's a strap where you can wrap it in there and hang it off of something. So the same company that owns these guys, and they can provide all that with this name brand, but they won't do it with this, because, and people give me thumbs down, but man, they're taking advantage of us. Just because they're named, they're taking advantage. They're no safer than an Ampro. They're no safer than the Fleur. They're no safer than this Greenlee, or the Amazon commercial, or the Testo. All those meters were, you know, anyway. So, all right, guys, sorry. It's hard not. Maybe it's gonna be my last Fluke review, because I can't help but rant when I review them. And I've used them for years, and I've been a big fan of Fluke for. Maybe that's why I'm so kind of irked by them right now, because since I've done this YouTube channel, I've seen all these other great meters, and look at this, single line displays. I mean, man, come on, give us something for our money. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I got to do an amplifier video.